When things were looking extremely good professionally, there were issues on the personal front. My marriage was breaking. So the separation, taking care of the baby and my new venture was too much for me to handle. I was extremely depressed and I didn't know what to do. I realized that I had to be strong and work with a plan B in mind for myself and for my daughter. I saw myself in her. Because at one point of time, I was also into a bad situation. Something that I have learned personally in this complete journey of mine is that hello everybody, my name is Binoli Dodhiwala and I am a founder of a financial advisory firm. And here I am today to share my journey with you. A journey that gave me a better understanding as to why it is important for us women to be financially independent and most importantly, take care of our own financial future. So my journey starts here in Mumbai, the city I was born and brought up in. I was born up in a joint family where my father was into a family business and my mother was a homemaker. Now, like typical households in our country, I grew up seeing my father take all financial decisions, but it was my mother from whom I learned to save and invest. Immediately after I finished my 10th standard, I started working. I started giving tuitions to cut my free time. And this was the first step which I had towards saving. And that journey, that learning stays with me till today. So I finished my post-graduation and simultaneously I got married. It was a love marriage. We both were working and doing very good for ourselves, but we also had a home loan on our head. And it was a very big amount for us at that point of time. With both of us working, we just finished our post-graduation, that salary was very meager for us to service this loan for another 10 to 20 years. And that is when we thought that we really had to do something to get rid of this loan as soon as we can and live a better life ahead. And so I took that plunge and I decided to quit my job and started to do something on myself. And by any chance, if this would not work for me, I always had a job to get back to. And that is how I started with my venture. So that's when my journey towards my own firm began. When things were looking extremely good professionally, there were issues on the personal front. My marriage was breaking. Few days after I was pregnant, I realized that separation was a reality, and finally we got separated. I was extremely anxious and unsure that how am I going to take care of this little kid which comes up to me. I had no plan B in place. I was just lost. Parallelly, my new venture was in the very nascent stage. So the separation, taking care of the baby and my new venture was too much for me to handle. I was extremely depressed and I didn't know what to do for a few months. Life was going till now according to plan A and I had no plan B in place at all. But this was a turning point in my life. I realized that I had to be strong and work with a plan B in mind for myself and for my daughter. So my new venture was now a very big responsibility for me because that was very important for me to do good in business so that I could take care of my daughter financially. But I was extremely drained out, running to the courts, lawyers, and also taking care of my venture that I could actually give no time to my daughter. However, this made me extremely strong as a person as I knew that the only thing that I had in front of me now was to just look forward. I had some savings from my earlier days and that was a big savior in these troubled times. Our experiences make us learn and I realized that at this point of time management was extremely important for me. So I had to prioritize my work and shut the noise around. So I had to come out of my comfort zone and do things which I had never done before, like learning how to drive, do all things myself and be as independent as I can and use my time most proactively and in the best way possible. So my mother kept telling me to get into a proper job so that I have a stable life, I get the perks along with it and I work with big brands because all this time I was a peon and the owner of my firm altogether. But this is something which was not in my vision. So when I started my new firm, we added a lot of products into the basket because now we had scale to work with. All this time, my clients were used to me being there in front of them for every need because I was the only one working. But now I did not have the time to cater to all of them at the same time. So we started sending representatives to clients. However, I clearly remember one incident where one client insisted that only I go to meet him because of a small error which one of my representatives did. At that point of time, I learned that I had to prioritize and focus only on certain segment of clients. I had to say no to certain clients who did not fit into my criteria. And that was the first time I learned to say no and prioritize my mental peace over money. So the formation of my new venture was definitely a highlight in my life. It was my achievement, and it's something I'm extremely proud of. Slowly, business started coming in and we started onboarding new clients. A lot of these clients were women. Being a woman and being a single parent, I could completely relate to their queries and their doubts, because all they wanted to do is build a life for themselves, build a secure future for their children, or just be financially independent and take charge of their own finances. Something that I have learned personally in this complete journey of mine is that right advice can help you not only secure your future, but also give you a good life for yourself. And I'm telling you this not as a financial advisor, but this is something I truly believe in. So let me tell you this with a small incident. One day a housemaid of mine came to me with 20,000 rupees and said, मैडम ये पैसा आप किधर भी संभाल के रख दो, क्योंकि मेरा पति रोज दारू पी के आता है और मेरा पूरा पैसा मुझसे ले लेता है. So when this maid came to me crying, I saw myself in her, because at one point of time I was also into a bad situation, and there were a lot of people over there who advised me. Some advices were something which still stay with me till today. So that is when I thought that she needs to be advised, because advice ज़रूरी है, हर किसी के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. So I explained her that this money need not be parked somewhere, but it has to be invested because it will grow rather than just being in a cupboard. She understood this fact, but she came back to me with another query कि अगर वो मेरे पति को पता चल गया कि ये मेरा पैसा कहीं पे डाला है, तो वो पैसा फिर निकाल देगा और मेरे हाथ में नहीं आएगा और मुझे ये पैसे कुछ साल के बाद चाहिए. I was extremely delighted to know that this woman is thinking of financial security. It's something that even we don't think of many times. It's been few months that she withdrew this money today because her house was broken down due to the flooding in the Mumbai rains, and I'm extremely happy to say that this is something which was a savior. So we all have dreams and we have plans how we are going to achieve these dreams. But many times the dreams and plans break simultaneously. At that point of time, it's extremely difficult to have a sudden plan B. Thus, in life and also in your finances, there should always be a plan B. I have a 7-year daughter who saves little bit money from the allowances she gets from the family members. We as parents need to teach our kids to save from day one, because personal finance is something which is just not taught in schools. Financial independence to me means taking complete responsibility of all life decisions, because every woman someday or the other in her life has to manage her own money due to some pleasant or unpleasant circumstances. The key to achieving this is focusing on your goals, having a discipline to your investments, and making investment as a habit. If you go to chase returns, you will never be financially independent. So keep focusing on your goals. I got married a few months back and I'm extremely happy, and there is just one takeaway I want to leave all of you all with. If there is a 1% chance of achieving something that you really want, go for it. Thank you.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.